Hey guys, welcome back. Orabomb here, bringing you another one of the live deck profiles. Here's a deck that I know you guys wanted to see. I've been seeing it in the comments. Even though I'm recording this in the past, I'm seeing it in the comments. Only because I've seen people tell me ahead of time that they want to see this deck sooner rather than later. So, hello guys, Orabomb here. We're profiling Reshiram and Charizard GX, the winner of the artwork contest. Look at that art, it's amazing, and this isn't even the official artwork. I love it. Oh boy. But anyways, before we get into the video, don't forget to drop a like. The like button is falling, bro. She hasn't felt this way in a long time, and she wants you to hit her. Do it for me. Tap that like button. You know what I'm saying. Subscribe, share, all that good jazz. Answer the comment question of the day being, what's your, outside of this card, what's your favorite artwork on any GX particular card? There's been a lot of good EXs in the past, especially during the black and white era, but I want to know, out of all GX Pokemon, what's your favorite artwork in all the GX Pokemon? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's just go right into this video. We're not going to dilly-dally this time. We got Pokemon to talk about. Reshiram and Charizard GX, we are playing 3 of these bad boys, only because, like, whatever. We have other attackers in this deck, unlike Pheromosa Buzzwole, but this deck will be very similar to the Pheromosa Buzzwole deck that we talked about earlier, because it has the same engine, but it's definitely not similar in the sense that, like, this is all about the Yokos. 270 HP, which is another reason why this card is unfair. It's actually got a ridiculous amount of HP. That's the same HP that Pokemon like Snorlax have. Like Pokemon that are known for being really fat Pokemon, this is the same HP number. The only thing that beats this right now is, what's it called? Wailord Snorlax, and that's not fair. This thing has too much HP for what it does with all the support around it. It has Outrage that does 30 damage plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on it. It's call-outs to Reshiram and Zekrom from back in the day, black and white. Fire Strike, similar to all Charizard cards. Big damage, heavy attack costing attack. But in this case, we have the support necessary to make this work. 230 damage, and then you can't use his attack next turn. Yeah, but they can still use Outrage and, more importantly, Double Blaze. Now, the strategy is simple. We're going to talk about Welder, but at first I was kind of like meh on this card, but there's a lot of reasons why this card is strong. Most cases, you're going to manually attach, Welder on 2 more, and then Double Blaze turn 1. So you're hitting 200 for turn 1. And then turn 2, you just manually attach onto here, probably set up another Pokemon in the back using Welder, and then hit for 230, 2 and 2. That is ridiculous as far as like taking knockouts go. And then if they ever hit you, you just outrage them. It's ridiculous how strong this card is. But let's go over why the Double Blaze is really strong, especially versus Whimsicott, which we just showcased yesterday. Or I guess 2 days ago was the match, but we showcased the deck yesterday. If this Pokemon has 3 extra fire energy attached to it, this attack does 100 more damage, so you hit 300. Well, that's pretty good already. And this attack's damage is not affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So in the case of Whimsicott and its ability that makes you flip, even if he flips tails, it's not affected. That don't matter to Whimsicott. That don't matter to Charizard. It hits right through, hitting 300. This is a really powerful attack. Just being able to hit 300 means that you're gonna OHKO pretty much anything. Maybe you'll whiff the knockout on a muscle. I think it's Muscle Pad. The knee pad card, I can never remember that card's name, on a Wailord that has 340 HP, but I mean, you're going to be knocking out pretty much anything else, which is why this card is so strong, so good, especially in this meta where we got things like Gardevoir doing really well, like Gardevoir Sylveon. Well, I'm expecting Gardevoir Sylveon to do really well. I'm talking more about like my experience with the Japanese meta. Things like Lucario Melmetal doing well. Things like Zoroark, as always, as well as, what's that card? But Pheromosa Buzzwole, you hit for weakness. There was one other card that I couldn't oh, Pikachu Zekrom, of course. So with all those cards doing well right now, being able to OHKO all of them and having a water weakness, and none of those cards are a water deck right now. There's no really relevant water decks right now. That is pretty cool. It's pretty strong right now. Now, as far as all the other attackers go, we got a couple things. One of the brand new Volcanion, it's a non-GX attacker of choice. That's the main reason why I'm playing it. But Flare Starter is pretty cool too. Search your deck for a fire energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon. If this is your first turn, search your deck for 3 fire energy instead and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So either way you shuffle your deck, right? So that's pretty cool in its own right. Its attack does 50 plus 60 more damage, or is that 60 or 80? No, 60, all right, 60 more damage if you have 4 or more energies on your board. Really easy, especially if this card goes first. So if you go first and you happen to get this Volcanion in the active through like switch or just leading with or whatever, you have a really good attacker with Flare Starter. And I like to mention this because sometimes people don't realize, I don't record on my mic whenever I record these deck profiles because I have to use my phone. Still cannot get me a new camcorder or whatever I can use to record really high quality without using my phone right now. So if the audio does sound weird, I do apologize ahead of time. Other non-GX attacker is Victini Prism. It's easy to set this thing up between Ultra Balls. Actually, we don't play Ultra Balls, but between Fiery Flints, it's really easy to set up this Victini to do big damage, especially whenever your opponent plays that Surprise Shining Hoopa. As far as other attackers go, one Ho-Oh. I like Ho-Oh's Sacred Fire. It's also got a different weakness, being a Lightning weak instead of a Fire weak. So Choice Banded Ho-Oh can still do 210. That's not bad at all. Eternal Flame doesn't mean anything, but Sacred Fire does do 50 to damage, and then 180 is a pretty good number, and with Choice Band, 210 is a pretty good number as well. Just having a different weakness is the main selling point though. And then a different GX attack of choice while also being another decent attacker. 190 HP, just like the Ho-Oh Turtonator here. It's got the attack Shell Trap, which is pretty cool because you can chip down Hoopas that way by doing 20 damage and then they take 80 damage whenever they attack you. And then Bright Flame does 160, so once again doing 190 while for only 3 energies is not bad. Discarding 2 doesn't mean anything because you can just get them back, as well as just use Welder to reattach. And then Nitro Tank GX, attaching 5 fire energies from your deck and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. Another strong GX attack, especially since all of our attacks are pretty heavy. But that's it for Pokemon, just 7 Pokemon, and they're all pretty useful in their own right. So there we go. Now let's go over the supporters first before we go over the trainers. I kind of like that idea. Yeah, I'm gonna do that for it first. Let me just try to, ooh, this is kind of awkward. Let me remove these really quick. I gotta do some behind the scenes, switching things up while you guys ain't looking. Y'all don't get it, y'all don't know. Anyways, let's talk about the supporters now. We got standard stuff for Lily, just a draw supporter. It's nice to find early. Although I can confidently say that you probably don't need Lily in this deck. From what I've been seeing when I played against it, it was just green search every turn. In fact, if anything, I'd probably want to play Palpad just to put green searches and welders back in the deck. That's something to look into for those more monotonous matchups. But regardless, 4 Lily and then 4 green search, letting you, as long as you have no abilities on board, which is why all those Pokemon we played have no abilities. We'll look over this card one more time. We've already seen it once already. You can only play this card if you have no Pokemon with abilities in play. Search your deck for a trainer card, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So research your deck for 2 trainer cards, not 1. So it's a good way to get a green search as well as something else that you need that turn. Something like Welder, an extremely, extremely, extremely powerful supporter coming out of this set that really paves the way for fire type decks, even though they were already pretty good. Attach 2 fire energy cards from your hand to one of your Pokemon, then draw 2 cards. That's strong. Free double attachment while also drawing 3, so built-in draw supporter. That's pretty good. So we just kind of want to use Welder, sometimes use Green Search to get Welder and Fiery Flint to get more energies and stuff like that, things like that. As far as the other supporters go, 2 Guzma, because we're going to be using these other supporters more than not. Guzmas are just kind of there for like, hey, we set up our board and now we're going to clean up the game, because you're usually just knocking out what's in front of you anyways. 1 Judge for hand disruption. 1 Kiawe, because turn 1 Kiawe is always not bad, especially on turns where you know you're not going to take a knockout anyways. Might as well use a Kiawe that turn. And then 1 Lieutenant Surge. This card, if you're behind in the game, you may play 3 supporters this turn, including this one. So that means you can just play Green Search into Welder. So Lieutenant Surge, pretty good. And since you're playing these heavy prize attackers, if you ever go behind the game, you can predict it, Green Search into a Lieutenant Surge and probably another Green Search, and just be like, all right, next turn I'm pretty much set. So take a knockout on me, I'm just gonna come back with a big swing. That's the kind of thing you're telling your opponent whenever you're playing this deck. As far as the rest of the cards go, as far as the item cards go, I should say, 4 Pokegear. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck, pick a supporter you find there and add to your hand. No Lele's means we need consistency somehow, and that's a nice way to boost consistency. 4 Fiery Flints, discard 2 cards in your hand, add 4 fire energies from your deck to your hand. Another way to get a bunch of fire energies into play. 3 Nest Balls, we don't need that many Nest Balls, so having 3 is pretty nice just in general. The newest trainer card, 3 fiery, 3 flame crystals. Put 3 fire energies from your discard pile into your hand. That's it. Simple effect, strong effect. 2 max potions for healing because we are giving up a lot of prizes, and because we have access to Welder to reattach energies, not even a big deal. 2 switch, just being able to switch around is really nice. And then 1 choice band. Oh, actually 2 choice bands. There we go. 2 choice bands. I'm trying to avoid glare, which is why I'm putting these cards in such random places, but 2 choice bands sometimes need that extra buff of damage. Being able to search all these cards with green makes them all pretty much live throughout the game, so are easily accessible throughout the game. So it's really, really, really strong. I like all the, I'm pretty confident with the trainer cards in this deck. I don't think I've changed anything about the trainers. I could see myself dropping a couple lilies because I don't feel like lily is as necessary, but the trainer cards for sure, I like the items. And I like the Pokemon. If anything, I would want to add more of things for particular matchups. Maybe if the meta shifts to one thing or another, I'd like to add some other things. Also, as far as stadiums go, 1 Heat Factory, 1 Unmanned Power Plant. This card's really strong, actually. Both players, Pokemon EX and GX in play, have no abilities, and since you're in a abilityless deck anyways, you don't mind this at all, then Heat Factory, just added consistency. Why not? As far as energies go, we're not even playing that many, which is where the Heat Crystals come into play. They're so strong. 4, 8, 12, just 14 energies. You don't really need more than 14, honestly. I feel like more might clump you up a little bit, but just being able to manually attach every turn, have plenty of energies to attach throughout the game, that's the name of the game when it comes to Charizard. This deck is incredibly strong, and I hope you guys liked my profile. I'm pretty happy with this deck list, I'm not gonna lie. It seems to be doing pretty well. Especially like this is like one of those decks. Whenever you're playing green just in general is a high skill card because you have to be able to predict what could possibly happen next turn and then react accordingly. That's the name of the game whenever you're playing green. And because of this deck being able to handle all sorts of different situations just with its sheer power, that's what makes this deck so good, so strong. Drop a like if you haven't already, subscribe, share all that good jazz, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another deck profile. Peace. Or actually, with another game. Peace.